This is my stand here. Bevan McLeod is my name. I've been involved in making organic fertiliser for the last 10 years, 12 years, because I knew there was a need to get away from chemicals, and this Pathways to Sustainability is a function that enhances this sort of preparation or trying to get away from chemicals and have less people in hospitals. That's the main thing that I can see coming out of it. The more people that look after their soil, the less sickness we've got, so therefore we'll have less hospitals that was needed in the long term. So we've come up with quite a few things. Number one is the soil conditioner that we've got here in the little bag. It's made up out of cow manure, pig manure, pot manure, zeolite, rock phosphate, volcamite and microbes, and it doesn't smell. And as I said, the longer I have it or make it, it gives better results. You don't need very much of it. When you really want to test whether a product is ready for the soil, because it's got no smell and some of this product is actually 10-year-old, you put it in a glass, and if it goes to the bottom, it's ready to be available to the plants. If it sits on top, it's not ready, and it'll probably smell too. Total dissolved solids is 85 parts per million is what is needed for the recommended soil. And we had a test come back because the product is 10 years old. It was 2011, and I asked the agronomist, what does this mean? Is it good, bad, or otherwise? And he said, no, it's excellent. I said, what do you mean? And he said, well, TDS is what the plant actually takes up. Once it's been dissolved or put in the water or in the soil, that's what the plant takes up. So I've got 23 and a half times. At 2011, I only need 85 parts per million, so I've got 23 and a half times more than what's required. So that's why I'm pretty excited about the results that are starting to come through. The oranges that we've got here now, this is this season's, this is the start of them. We sold them last year. They're a very red orange. They're called caracaras. The gentleman was a chemical farmer originally. He swung over to go into organics, and now he's got 17 hectares of certified organic oranges, and people are really looking for the oranges. We sold them last year, and he tells me that they're actually selling for about $8 a kilo in Sydney, and they can't get enough of them while he's only just started. But the amazing thing was that he used to spray underneath the trees, and that affected the trees. He went into mowing them last year, and this year they're just full of juice. And I'll show you one here that's giving you an idea of what it looks like. And they're very, very juicy orange. Very tasty orange. The oranges here in the bag, they come from a different area. They're biodynamic oranges, not the red ones, they're the yellow ones. We've got the pineapples, which are growing up around the Glasshouse Mountains by people that have looked at nutrition, and some of the people now are starting to put a cover crop in to allow the soil to improve. The other thing is chickpeas. They're processed down at Kyalla. They're are very high in amino acids and vitamins, which is I didn't know about 5 years ago when we were actually mulling them up and putting them into stock feed, and the cattle were doing so well that I started asking questions, why are they doing so well? And we found out it was the chickpeas that was grown on our fertiliser that really made a difference of the nutrients that was in it. What we've got here is the ginger that's grown up on the coast, up past Nambour. The other one is garlic that's grown down in Dorrigo. We go down and pick it up, bring it back. It's grown on our soil conditioner.
Okay, my name's Colin Purnell. I'm part of Earthlife, and Earthlife is about remineralising and improving the soil structure and getting minerals back into our fruit and veg and improving the whole environment situation. Earthlife looked at a couple of phenomenons that happen naturally, like a floodplain situation where when the river floods, natural minerals and trace elements are washed down and creates a sediment over the soil and rejuvenates that soil. And the other one is in a rainforest situation where we have a lush environment which humans haven't really created themselves. And so Earthlife looked at those two phenomena and saw how we could, with the technology available today, recreate that and to enhance people's lives no matter where they live. So whether it be in the home garden situation, in horticulture, agriculture, getting minerals and microbes back into our soils is really improving the health of our produce. So utilising the Earthlife system can reduce the amount of chemicals that we need for even in just our home gardens, let alone agriculture and horticulture. It is a much more sustainable situation because less reliant on chemicals, and in the long term, better for the environment, better for human health, better for animal health, for instance. We had a situation where an avocado grower had a toxicity problem. He had manganese toxicity in his soil. Now, you can't physically take the manganese out of the soil, so how did we fix it? And the Earthlife minerals were able to mask the element being taken up by the plant, and so within 12 months the plant had turned around, and over a period of years we increased that crop threefold each year. So the guy was so impressed, he then asked how he could, because he was going to plant out a new area, and so he prepared the ground 12 months in advance and with our Earthlife system, and had avocados, 3 to 4 trays of fruit in 2.5 years from planting. So that's the difference in what the Earthlife system can make, and that's only one example of many that has happened over the years that Earthlife's been in business.
If I can ask you, what if, in the future, where do you see if your products and similar products could be taken up more widely? I mean, what are you hoping for here? What's the vision, say 5-10 years? Can we improve the soil condition in Australia more generally, do you think? Or?
Well, I think we can, because it's the minerals are being leached out of our soil, even if it's just through high rainfall, is leaching the minerals out. And some of the agricultural practices have actually leached those out at an accelerated rate. But it is possible to be able to turn that around and get minerals back into our soils, getting the microorganisms back into that soil structure, and start building and improving soil structure, and start building a living soil system which is much more sustainable and has much more health benefits, and in the term of the farmer, a better bottom line.
My work is about changing how people look at things so that they can see how human needs and concerns are intersected with looking after the environment and protecting our environment, reducing our resource use, and changing the way we organise our urban areas so that we're making less of an impact on the planet. But it starts with how people look at things, and that's what I work on.
Can you give us just a quick example about how you do that, and can you speak a bit more loudly when you reply?
Okay, I've been going around doing talks on climate change and on the relationship between economics and sustainability. And when you look at the way ecologists look at the environment, they see the economy as part of the global ecosystem, whereas economists see the environment as outside of or part of the economy. So economists think you can damage the environment as long as you're making the economy bigger, whereas what we're seeing with resource use, with environmental impacts, is that more and more we're reaching a crisis point where economic expansion is damaging the conditions for a good life on the planet, and we need to change how we organise our economy so that it is within ecosystem limits.
Do you see any evidence for that sort of message, taking hold in this area, or if what's needed to make that more likely that that process is going to accelerate? What's the sort of timescale perhaps also on this in this area?
Well, we need to make really big reductions in greenhouse emissions within the next few years, or we risk going over environmental tipping points where the climate isn't a linear system that changes gradually over time. It can switch states the way that water shifts from liquid to ice or to gas, and if we push it into a different state, it may not be one that's very friendly to human lives, and that can happen really quickly. Like, you don't have an in-between stage between ice and water, it's all either one or the other, and scientists are concerned we can have a similar switch with the climate, and it'll just shift into a hotter phase that's not compatible with the way we live today. Most of the planet could become desert, most of the oceans could become dead, and we may only have a short window to reduce our emissions to avoid that happening. So that makes a very urgent action.
Thank you. Is there any final thing you want to say, any closing message for people to sort of take from this? What would be your final sort of summing up comment about what you're doing, how you see the process going overall, what needs to happen? Any sort of overall summarising comment?
In the discourses in Australia, there's a lot at the moment of framing the discussion as the environment versus jobs. But if we don't look after the environment, there won't be jobs, there won't be an economy, we won't have enough to eat. And we really need to look out after the environment to protect all those other things we care about.